demonstration of the world's very first interactive magnetic Tonnetz chart. At least, I think it's the very first, because I made it myself. But let's back up and discuss exactly what is a Tonnetz chart. This was devised in 1739, almost 300 years ago, by a famous mathematician named Leonard Euler. He arranged the 12 notes of the Western scale on a grid that actually can repeat infinitely in every direction. If you look at the horizontal axis, these notes are all arranged 1/5 apart. If you look at the diagonal going from the upper left to the lower right, you get notes that are arranged 1/3 apart. And if you look at the other diagonal from the lower left to the upper right, the notes are all arranged at flat 1/3 apart. In order to make this an interactive Tonnetz board, I've made magnets that are labeled with the scale degrees that you can place on the chart to form various scales and chords. On the left side are diagrams that show many chords that you can make on the Tonnetz chart. Along the right are modes of the major scale, as well as some other scales, including minor pentatonic, major pentatonic, harmonic minor, and melodic minor. So as an example, major chord is this downward pointing triangle shape. Let's start a major chord on a C, make a C major chord. We'd have the C, which is a root note, have the major third down this diagonal, which is an E, and going across, you have the 5th. So there you have your triangle shape. And it doesn't matter which note you start on this Tonnetz chart. If you make that shape, you're going to end up with a major chord. To make a minor chord, again, you're going to start on your root note. You're going to go along this diagonal to get your flat 3rd. And then you're going to go along the horizontal to get your 5th. You get an upward pointed triangle, which is the shape of a minor chord. I won't go through all of the chord shapes that I have over on the left-hand side, but I will show them in the video, and you can always pause the video if you want to study how to make any of those shapes. On the right side here, we have the scales. You can use the Tonnetz chart to make scale patterns. So let's start with the Ionian scale, or the major scale. If we're in the key of C, our root note, the 1, is on the C. The 2 is going to be on the D, and I'm going to put another D down here. And you'll see why in a minute. The 3rd is the E. The 4th is F. The 5th is G. The 6th is A. The 7th is B. And we do have another 4 up here. Now if you look at the Tonnetz chart, by making this scale pattern, you can actually see which chords in that scale are major and which are minor. So in the Ionian mode, the 1, 4, and 5 are the major chords, and you'll see that the notes form these downward triangle shapes, which is the major chord shape. The minor chords in the Ionian scale are 2, 3, and 6. And you can see those form the upward triangles. And finally, the 7 is a diminished chord, and that's why I added this 4 over here, so you can see that the 7 is a diminished chord. One of the things I figured out while making the Tonnetz chart was about diminished chords. My guitar teacher handed out a sheet a while ago with common movable chords. One of those was a diminished chord, and he had a little note that said any of the notes in the diminished chord could serve as the root. So I wondered how that could be. But if you look at the Tonnetz chart, you can see you form diminished triads by stacking flat thirds one on top of the other. So if we want to make a fully diminished chord, we'd start with the root note, and a flat third, and a flat fifth, and then what those music theory people call a double flat 7. And then if you keep going, you get the same notes. You got the 1, flat third, flat fifth, back here double flat 7. No matter where you start, any of these notes can be the root notes, and you'll still have all the other tones in the diminished chord. So there you have it, an introduction to the world's first magnetic Tonnetz chart. I have to say thanks, of course, to my music teacher, Jeff Wiggins, at the Way of Guitar Lessons studio in Auburn, New York, because I've only been taking lessons for 2 years, and I could never have learned all this stuff without having a great teacher. And in fact, when I made this video, he hasn't seen the Tonnetz chart yet, but he's going to get it for a Christmas present in 2025.